Yeah. Let me drop exclusive game from my exclusive mind. You be out here chasing fame, I stay steady on my grind. Zero diamonds, zero.
Thank you for tapping into the Exclusive Minds podcast. Today we're going to be having an exclusive conversation with exclusive content from Exclusive Minds. I'm your host, Rook, and
Joe.
let's get right into it.
Alrighty, we are live. We had a couple technical glitches that won't make it to the cut, but I think we're good now, recording.
Hopefully the intro played over.
Yeah, so this is coming to you on Christmas Eve. We're recording this on Christmas Eve, so let's welcome or give everybody a warm and happy Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and all that good stuff.
For sure. Happy holidays. I mean, it's been a while since we last spoke. I think it was last Wednesday.
Yeah.
Right? And we were just like
it's a little over a week.
Yeah. But yeah, so we didn't end up doing the recap for the fight, but it was a good fight. I was in the movie theater, and I was getting text messages from both Joe and Mikey at the same time. Like, Joe at first, I saw he was like, "Oh, this is like a boring fight or whatever."
Awful. It was terrible. Come on.
I didn't even see it. So who was winning it first?
I mean, I think that
Because I was getting mixed views. Like,
I think Paul was winning the entire fight, but
Okay.
it
was like boring, slow.
The whole card was awful.
Okay. Wait, even though
I mean, the only legit boxer I think in the entire thing was
the girl, right?
Was the girl, and
Yeah.
she just rocked the crap out of it. I mean, they went the full 10 rounds, and the other girl, her face just looked like a potato masher. I mean, she just got rocked, right?
Nah, she has a good story. I saw,
But
her
it was
thing.
one of those things, like I mean, no knockout power, right? I mean, she was clocking her left and right, and just couldn't put her away because there's no power behind it.
Yeah.
From like, I was like, whatever.
She has like an impressive record, and behind that, I like what he did with her, because like she was getting like maybe like for winning a fight and being a champion, she was getting like only a couple $1,000s like for winning, and then he was like, "You can make so much more money. Come fight with us." And like, this is somebody who's a reputable fitter. I think she had like a
39-1 or 0 or
like
something.
a very impressive record. So it was like cool to see that kind of come to fruition, I guess, and take place. So good for her. I bet there's a bunch of those type of stories out there that these people probably don't get paid well or something along those lines. Like, I don't know how it is.
I mean, it's like everything in sports. There's a very, very small minority that actually make the real money, right?
Yeah. Well, you guys just have to be a huge name, I guess. It's like, i.e. like Conor McGregor or whatever.
It helps, I'm sure.
For sure.
Yeah. So I mean, It was crazy because I mean I was texting her and Mikey was on and I was just like, oh my God, this is such a bore fest. I mean, it was just a lot of clinching and it was just awful. I mean, I'm sorry, it just wasn't good. It wasn't a good fight. And then just out of the blue, he rocks him with this freaking shot, and I'm like, what just happened? Like, where did this come from?
We all saw the clip like 1,000 times, but like for the people when you first saw it, you were just surprised because you were like where'd this come from?
Yeah,
it seemed like out of nowhere. And I don't know, a bunch of people were like saying, like, you always have the speculators. They're like, oh, he signaled him with his glove to take a jab.
More than, I think, 10 minutes before the internet blew up that it was fixed.
Yeah.
And that the glove twist a couple times to signify going down or whatever. I said this when Fury dropped out, right? Because I said, this is one of those fights where I could see the fix being in. I really could.
Way.
I could.
I could.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I could see it. I can see it.
I just don't think someone of that because think about it. Tyron Woodley, was a champion. He was the champion for the UFC, and like getting knocked out to Jake Paul and ruining his whole career. Not ruining it, but like if you're gonna Google him now, what's the first thing that's gonna pop up?
No, that's true. Well, so, who knows? Maybe. Look, we could speculate all day long, right? I mean, who knows? Maybe the intent wasn't to get knocked out, right?
That's what I'm thinking.
And he just unloaded on him. And
that is one of those things. And it comes down to like, are you familiar with Ben Askren? The first guy.
Roughly, yeah.
So I feel like with him, when I was kind of like analyzing the two, he's somebody where you could tell like he doesn't get affected by the internet. He could care less if he won, lost. He just came there for the payday, right?
Right.
Tyron Woodley, on the other hand, I feel like he cares a little bit more. You know what I mean? So like that kind of, I could see him eating him up more to like not take that fight. Where if Ben Askren was like, oh yeah, that was a fixed fight, like you could believe it a little bit more because he doesn't care at the end of the day. Yeah. He has his gyms going on, but
yeah, and I saw that he was. I mean, so Logan was, or Paul was calling out all the MMA guys like Masvidal and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I'm sorry. I think if he ever comes up against a real boxer, he's gonna. He might not get he might not get crushed, but he's in for a rude awakening. I'm just like even this Woodley fight. I mean, I get this guy was a champion, but I mean, he must have been a champion for his ground game and not his stand-up game.
I believe so. I think that's exactly what happened.
It was. I mean, there was a lot of clenching, and it just wasn't a good fight. It really wasn't.
I didn't tune in.
The knockout was awesome, but I mean, the fight itself leading up to it was just awful.
Yeah, I mean, Jorge Masvidal, he's a great fighter. I think that would be an interesting one. It's just whether or not, like, kind of goes back to the conversation, like if he could get out of his contract.
No, that'll never happen. Dana White will never let him out.
No, yeah, that's another conversation. But anyway, besides that, you went to go see The Amazing Spider-Man. Kind of talk to me a little bit about that before we got on here. You want to tell your quick little story about what happened in the middle of the movie? Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, obviously, I've been going to movies for a very long time, and this is the first time this has ever happened. But the fire alarm went off. Dead middle of the movie, and so we all had to, leave the theater. And sure enough, the people behind the counter just burnt popcorn. You could, as soon as you walked out, you knew exactly what it was, right? I mean, everybody smelled burnt popcorn before, and it's like, oh, you got to be kidding me with this, right? So we ended up going back in about 20 minutes later, sat down. We're waiting for the movie to start, and it took about, 5 or 10 minutes before they get to start. And of course, they start the movie from the very beginning. And I'm like, wait. I don't want to see. I mean, it's a good movie. I'm having a good time, but I don't want to sit through the first hour again for another hour. So they're playing it for about 10 minutes, and people start booing and all this stuff. And then it stops, and it's about another 10 minutes, and they actually start the movie about 5 minutes before where we had cut off. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, So they play about 5 minutes, and as soon as it gets caught up, they shut it off, and they rewind it about 15 minutes. And so we ended up, I think, kind of having to relive about 15 minutes of it. It was funny. The movie was 6:30 was the start, so it didn't go on until about 7. Mm-hmm. And I'm guessing that was probably about a 2.5 hour movie.
Yeah, probably close to 2.5.
We didn't leave the theater until like 10:30.
Are you serious?
And they had a showing afterwards, which so those people, like, if they bought tickets, I think it was like a 9:30 show, and they were probably an hour behind as well. It was really, a lot of craziness.
All right, without doing any spoilers, what did you think about the movie overall? How'd you like it compared to the other Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield movies?
Well, I mean, it was
no spoilers, of course, but
it was probably the best Spider-Man. The last and the latest and the greatest is always the best because it's the most memorable one because you're kind of thinking about it. But yeah, it was awesome. I mean, it had the Marvel flair, right, with all the humor and all the just the little nuances that Marvel puts in that I don't think Sony had. So. It was fabulous. I mean, it was absolutely fabulous. And actually, it was saving grace for this week because I saw Matrix, the new Matrix.
Oh, I heard it wasn't good.
It was awful.
Actually?
Awful.
No way. I heard that it was like really like they call it mid, which means like is that it's like a lingo term. Like if something's like terrible or like average, they just call it mid. And they said that Matrix, like they call it mid tricks. Like they're making a bunch of memes about it. I
like that. Okay, I'm gonna add that to my lexicon. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. You can argue with me, and maybe I don't. I literally was tempted to quit halfway through, and for me, that's just I never quit on movies ever. And it was bad, man. It was just
Now, as someone you watched the obviously the original ones, right? So like comparing to that, I was at the point where I was a little bit too young to really remember them. Like I remember watching maybe the first one, like maybe with somebody, and then I didn't watch the second. I don't even know how many there are. Is this the third one or is this the fourth one?
This is the fourth.
This is the fourth. Okay,
right.
so
you had, I mean, the first one was legendary, right? The first one was just the ultimate like cool movie.
That's when they implemented that.
Those special effects were just freaking insane at the time. Mm-hmm. And then I think like a lot of sequels, right? The second and third were probably not as good, and people will argue, but I don't think they were nearly as good. But you get into character development, and you get into character. You care about the characters at that point, right? You're kind of invested in it, so you stick through it, and you kind of like it. This one just other than I guess Keanu Reeves and the Trinity character, everything else was sort of. They were all new characters, so that you didn't really have that same
like emotional attachment to a character.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't know. It wasn't very good.
What's your rule of thumb for like sequels and like prequels and all that different type of stuff. You kind of mentioned it a little bit. You said like the second and third are never as good as the first. Would you consider that to be like the overall like what do you call that? The overall consensus for like as movies go on? Because
yeah, I'm trying to think. So the exception to that rule that I know immediately off the top of my head is Terminator 2 was better than Terminator 1.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Is that the one when they're in the mall?
Yeah,
yeah,
I
right.
think so. Was that the? Yeah, I'm trying to remember. They had the big dump truck chasing them on the motorcycle.
I think that was.
I don't even. I mean, that was back in the '90s, right? But that one, I think the second one was better than the first one. The first one was fabulous too. So that was kind of the sequel. So 1 and 2 were good, and then it fell off the table. Aliens
versus President?
Aliens plural. The second one was it was totally kind of a totally different movie than the first one, but I think Aliens 2 was a fabulous sequel.
I was always confused by that timeline with the Aliens versus Predator. Then they had Aliens and then Predator. I was always confused with the timeline, but I always enjoyed the movies.
The two characters are just completely separate, and they just brought them together to maximize box office, right? So, I mean, it was never like a comic book where the two are in sort of the same kind of parallel universe.
See, that's where it confused me.
There was all kinds of crossovers. That never happened until way after,
they both had their individual.
They both had their individual success, and they're like, well, why don't we just take these two and kind of morph them together and
I was always Team Predator, by the way.
Create a thing, right?
Yeah.
So
always Team Predator. The movie that sticks out to me is, you know me, I'm a big fan of like those like older kind of movies. I really liked Rocky, the Rocky series. I liked the Rocky 4 better than like 2, 3. Not
which
the original.
Was Rocky 4 was with
Drago.
Drago, yeah, that was awesome.
That was a dope movie.
Yeah.
Really like that. Then the 5th one, they kind of like ruined it with that like Tommy Gunn character.
Yeah, that wasn't
as good. Yeah. But like the first one, the second one was good.
Even the
too.
third one with Mr. T was pretty good.
That was pretty good. Yeah, I really liked them. I feel like that series of movies was done fantastic.
But they're never as good as the very first one, right? Because the first one is typically.
I mean, it's close call for sure.
You know, the first one is typically legendary for a reason, and there's a reason why they make sequels, right? Because there's something about it that was special, and then that specialness has kind of worn off, or you try and replicate that same sort of
I could see
feel,
that.
and it's very difficult to do. I mean, I think there's a lot of franchises that the movies are good, like even the John Wick films are awesome.
Are dope. I love John Wick.
And I have high hopes for the fourth one, but yeah, this Matrix film was just sort of just lacking everything.
Yeah, it always sucks when they like you have like high hopes, like, oh, I want to go relive that moment.
I was pretty jacked to see it.
You know what I mean? And then
as soon as it came online, I was like, let me watch it, and then I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, well, welcome. That's what they call the past like 5 Call of Duties that came out.
Yeah.
You're expecting the one that happened in like 2009 that they perfected, and then nowadays it's just completely off the beating path of like what to be, true to its roots. But
yeah. So
it is what it is, though.
Anyway, so that's our movie review and our boxing review. Some mixed forecasts for those who haven't seen any of this, but the Spider-Man movie was fabulous. The Matrix movie sucked, and the Fury or the Woodley Paul fight. It was the knockout was fabulous. Watch it on ESPN, and you've seen the fight. You've seen the entire card.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't do the recap of the clothing stuff. You shipped out all of the orders.
Yeah, it's funny, and I think we kicked this entire thing off by saying we're recording this on Christmas Eve, and I Merry Christmas to everybody. And it just dawned on me, and I was so frustrated after having done this, right? So I sent out all the hoodies earlier. Was it this week or last week? I don't even remember, right? But we did them, and I tend to sign. Hand thank yous on the packing slips.
People were telling me about it.
And every one of them, I said Happy Holidays, and I did not say Merry Christmas.
Good.
Well, no.
You don't want to say Happy Holidays?
I want to say Merry Christmas, and I didn't say that. And I'm like, and I got caught up in this, like, oh, I can't say Merry Christmas because it might not, I'm like, what the hell, man?
No, that's the politically correct way to do things.
It's horseshit.
And
sorry.
What about the thing with Starbucks, though? We're going back to Starbucks, Jesus.
Right.
But the cups, right?
Yeah, you can't say Merry Christmas on the cups. Well, F that, man. I'm sorry. So I did it. I got caught up in the malaise of PC culture, and I all of the things, and the sentiment was there, right? I mean, it's not that. It kind of annoys me.
No malice intention behind it.
It kind of just annoys me that I didn't write Merry Christmas on it.
No, I think you did the right thing by saying Happy Holidays, man.
We could argue that all day long because I'm like, well, Christmas. I mean, when did Christmas become a taboo thing? I mean,
yeah, it's just like.
I mean,
what if you don't celebrate
if you
Christmas,
don't
then?
celebrate Christmas and
someone
says Merry Christmas, are you offended by that?
Not offended, but it's just like
the sentiment, right? It's
come on. I see what you mean, but there's we're living in 2021.
Yeah, well, that's a serious problem. Ooh, this podcast could go into.
We could ruin 9 episodes right now.
Yeah, Christmas. I guess we shouldn't do this on Christmas. Maybe this is a topic. I mean, honestly, it was.
No.
So anyway, that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But yes, we did send out all the hoodies.
Good. Bro, people are asking about these T-shirts. They're still under development. You can't be asking about these T-shirts it's a classified project right now. As of right now.
Well, yeah, we did talk about it a little.
We talked about them briefly, but they want to have them. They're trying to get links to get them early. We're not doing no early links. You get it when it comes out, all right?
Ooh,
yeah. Sorry.
That's our chief marketing officer talking. So he knows the timeline for development.
So listen.
Wait, you were wearing one the other day, so
yeah, I'm behind the scenes, man.
Oh, that's true. I do have a rose.
Yeah, this guy's the king of one-of-ones over here. He has like 8 different hoodies that I don't even have.
It is funny. I literally have probably at this point I probably have 4 or 5 one-of-ones because I do all the ordering. So when we order the colors, and I always order a color that no one else has because I'm just that kind of a guy. I have to have the one-of-one.
Yo, we should make those like NFTs now, like just Joe's one-of-one collection or something. That'd be awesome.
Well, I mean, so that's how we kind of stumbled on the camo. I did the snow camo in the purple skull
design,
right? Yeah. And we were like, oh, that's kind of badass, and we ended up ordering the camo. So
I think it even went back further because remember we ordered the white and blue, the baby blue hoodies, and then we got one. I think it was like one off of the camo hoodie that was like the lightweight material.
Yeah. And I did the safety. I'm trying to think of all the ones I've done. The safety orange, which actually is kind of nice. So anyway,
that would match.
It will. That
might be a crazy outfit.
So everybody knows the Yeezy addiction at this table, right? It's not just me. But I ended up scoring the.
Extremely jealous.
I don't even. These are the 350 V2s. Are these? I don't.
They are the V2s.
What the hell's the color? They always
Beluga.
have these fancy colors. Beluga.
Yeah.
And I always think beluga. Well, gray, right? Beluga whale. Yeah. So gray with the big gigantic orange stripe.
Yeah, these shoes, they were the first, they were like on like one of the first wave of the V2, like from the Turtle Doves, they went to like the V2 collection. This was one of the first ones. I was extremely jealous because Joe took a picture of it and he sent it to me because he always has luck. And we were just kind of debating this before we got on here is like, well, is it because like the lower sizes are less popular than like my size, which is like 11 and a half? I feel like everyone and their mom like tries to get this one, or it's like always has the most, like, the resale value for that shoe is always expensive. It's like always high. But anyway, long story short, I'm extremely jealous. I'm looking at him right now. He put him on the table in front of me as like a big F you. So we'll see. He's going to be wearing them to Christmas Eve, this Christmas Eve party.
I'm wearing them today, yep.
I might accidentally step on them or something like that. We'll have to figure it out when the time comes.
Yeah, these are, I think these are 9.5, so I don't know if maybe the half sizes is...
That might be it. I don't know. There got to be some psyche behind why.
Well, like I said, I put in for the black ones that were up as well, and I didn't win those. So it's not like I win everything. And usually it's like, I put in half the times and I'm not even really sure I want them. And then the ones I really want, I never win ever. Yeah. Because I wanted those brown.
The MX or the MX
the 450s, the really funky looking ones that I have the black pair that I love. But yeah, so I'm pretty stoked though. These actually are really nice. They've got this kind of like orange in the mesh knitting of the shoe, and it really looks cool. Actually,
they're super cool. Actually, I really like them. Another thing we could talk about. You got a new toy downstairs. Do you want to talk about it briefly, or
it's a Christmas present for my son, or so I tell myself.
I thought you were actually serious. I'm like, how could you miss that? Like, I'm like thinking to myself, like,
come on.
I was like, oh, did I just ruin something? That's like smack dab in the middle of his garage. But anyway,
so no, I got a Can-Am UTV. So for those that don't know what a UTV is, just think of it as a four-wheeler with
like a side-by-side type deal.
Yeah, side-by-side. That's probably the best way to describe it. Yeah, so I mean, obviously, people on this podcast don't know who the hell I am, but I have an extensive history of off-roading vehicles and cars and stuff like this. So it seems like my hobby is getting smaller and smaller every day.
Yeah.
So I went from having a Hummer to a Hummer to a Hummer to now having a side-by-side, which is kind of a smaller one. But yeah, the intent is it's twofold, right? So it is legitimately a Christmas present for my son. That's what I keep telling myself to justify
Make you feel better. Yeah.
Even though it's just as much about me. But so it's two things. I mean, obviously we're gonna take it up to riding and the Poconos and stuff like that, and do off-roading as soon as the weather gets better. But also my son turned 16, right, and he's kind of different than my daughter, who just got behind the wheel and went.
That's how my brother is.
He's completely wigging out and doesn't want to do it. So this was kind of a stepping stone, I think, to get him to learn how to drive.
Dude, that thing is sick. I really like it. We were talking about some marketing ideas we can
do.
With that
I'm
thing.
gonna have to get some
decals or something.
Decals and stuff for it. It's gonna be. I'm gonna do that. Absolutely, we're doing that.
That is awesome. Yeah, I really like it. Another thing that I was extremely jealous with Joe with, because I always liked like having four-wheelers. I grew up with four-wheelers, and then my earliest memory of even with Joe is he had this Hummer that before the development across the street was, I don't even know if we're allowed to say this, but like before the development was built over there, you would just like take your Hummer and like do like, I don't know, mudding or donuts and stuff over there. But that was like one of the earliest memories. So you getting that kind of puts everything full circle. And like you said, it's kind of, your addiction's getting smaller and kind of more contained now.
Yeah. It's a little cheaper to fix a
four-wheeler
side by side than it is to fix some of these off-road vehicles nowadays. So
yeah, for sure. How's your Mana been, dude?
So yeah, I guess we can do the crypto thing real quick. So Mana, I think it's had a good week. I think when we last talked, it was like 320. It was like 310 or something like that. Yeah. And as of this minute, and I'm getting a live update, I think here. Or maybe I'm not, because it doesn't seem to be working.
Yeah, the past hour, it just dipped, by the way.
So Ethereum is at 4,086, and I think you said you got in at like 3,700?
Yes.
So you're doing well, man. You're up
got up a couple bucks for sure.
12% or so. Doing quick math. So Decentraland, which is Mana, is down 10 cents today, but it is up to $3.57, and I was in at $3.49. So yay, I'm up like 3%.
Yeah, I mean,
nice rebound though, considering I was down about 15%.
In the past hour, it was actually up to $3.71 at its peak, which is kind of crazy. And then, literally while we started the podcast, it dropped down.
I mean, the swings in crypto are crazy.
Yeah,
even just a daily. I mean, I'm assuming there's a lot of day trading that goes on with crypto.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, more so than even stocks these days, and you kind of understand why. I mean, the swings are you can. I mean,
dramatic.
If you time the swings right, you can make some serious money. Because I started to look at this list now a little more. I spend more time looking at it. I'm like, what the hell is Elrond, right? Because I mean, I look at the ones that are doing, some really nice upward movements.
The gainers.
Of course, there's some that'll they'll move 10 or 15% in a day.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it, I'm like, what the hell's Elrond? And of course, I'll go and look, and I still try and like, what the hell are these? Yeah. What is this stuff?
It's crazy. And the more that I look at it, and the more that I'm like kind of involving myself, it's really there's starting to make a disconnect from traditional stocks and the way that you look at these like original ones. Because before, I always hear people say, like, if you're going in for more of like a long-term approach, oh, don't look at it, don't pay any attention to it. Whereas like if you were to like not look at a crypto for like a day, you could be missing out on potential hundreds of dollars. You know what I mean? Or even thousands or whatever. So it's like there's kind of a big disconnect there. And then another thing is,
well, the scary thing is, well, I shouldn't say scary, but I mean this is very reminiscent of the stock market in the 2000, 2001, right before the whole bubble burst, right? It's the exact same thing. And back then, you'd have stock swings that were just insane, and there was a lot of day trading and exactly what you're seeing in crypto today was very much like, the turn of the 2000s. And
It's funny that you say that because a lot of these communities are saying the exact same thing that you're saying. They're
Oh,
saying that this bubble's about to like pop at any moment, and when it does, just be ready to like kind of sell or put it into like a cold wallet and just get ready to buy more.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to be like the .com, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there are going to be some that come out of this crypto thing, and they're going to be like the Amazons and the Apples and all the big 800-pound gorillas in the cryptocurrency. But there's going to have to be some consolidation. Because, I mean, this list now, like I go to Fox News and they have their business and they have a list that is, it's literally like 12 pages long of all the cryptos.
Oh, really?
Because they're tracking every one of them. Like you can go and there's 12 pages now.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how many are on a page. Looks like about 20 on a page. So you probably have like 250 different cryptos. And you know they're not all going to survive. Right?
Yeah, well,
there's got to be some consolidation. There just has to be, right? And you know, at some point it'll either that or it's going to spread out so much, and there's going to be so many new cryptos because there's no it'll just get nuts, right? It'll water itself down to the point where none of them are worth anything because there's 15,000 different cryptos.
Yeah. And the thing that you're just talking about, I think some of those companies that we talk about, I really truly believe that Decentraland's going to be one. And I feel like the Sandbox is going to be another one. And this would be a good time to have Noah
The Sandbox is the one that
is the competitor for Decentraland.
Right, okay.
And then another one, this is where Noah would come in and kind of give his expertise, is Roblox. Like, I didn't even know, like, to me, when you say Roblox, I'm thinking of these, like, square guys, and that's it. But, like, I was looking at a video on YouTube, and they have, like, simulations of, like, first-person shooters, actually, on the Roblox, which I had no idea about. I thought it was just, like, kind of like a Minecraft type deal. And it's actually, like, crazy. So, like, if he wanted to talk about it, like, on, like, a 5-minute segment, like, maybe we could convince him while we're at Mario's later today.
Maybe.
But that would be cool to have him talk about, because I feel like they were even in talks about maybe having that as its own, like, Web3 / metaverse type application. And if he's already been on it, like, he would be, like, an expert knowing the ins and the outs, might even be our boss one day, like, because he knows, like, how to maneuver it, you know what I mean? So we definitely got to talk to him about it, because that stuff's very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, they have a very mature marketplace. I mean, Robux, right? You could sit there and say that Robux is a cryptocurrency, right?
Yeah, probably could. I didn't even know that was the name of the stuff.
Yeah, it's Robux. And I only know that because he asked me, can I have $5? I got to buy some Robux. Or can I have... I'm like, what the hell are you buying? Oh, they digital hats that are limited. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about this before, right? He's buying things and I'm like, it's digital. It's, oh God. Yeah. Right. But that's the world we live in, right? It's becoming more and more of a reality. I mean, I saw that Adidas, right? We talked about Adidas, right? They just dropped their NFT and I totally missed it. I don't know if I would have done anything anyway, but they dropped an NFT with, who's the guys that do like the ape faces?
Bored Ape Yacht Club.
Yes, that's the one, right?
Yeah.
So they team with them, and then I go online and I'm like, these people are selling these just like it's just the avatar, and I'm looking at it and like,
tricky.
wait, this avatar is like $150,000.
You're lucky if you can get one for that much.
Okay, I mean maybe I didn't do the math right, but I'm like, whatever it is, it's insane.
It's
I'm
actually,
like, well, okay, so who is buying this stuff?
That's another good question, and I don't know the answer to that question.
Like, and it makes me just wonder if it's like a little inner circle that's sort of, you know, like I'll buy your stuff, you buy my stuff, and we'll try and artificially inflate this market, and it's a Ponzi scheme, right?
That now you're getting into like where I'm starting. Like I'm still on the fence with the whole thing. Like I'm still like kind of like I described it when we were on a Twitter space yesterday. Like, and these Twitter spaces are great, by the way, because I get on there. There's like 70 people, and I'm on the speaker panel, and I'll just talk about like our brand, or I'll just be listening, taking in as much information as possible. And these guys are just like talking like, oh, we're going to be giving out 2 sold today, or we're going to be, which is Solano, which I think yesterday was at like 195. So it's like these guys just in a random Twitter space in front of 70 people are going to give away, you know, almost $400. You know,
well, so I mean, this is,
and it's just like, why are they giving away so much money?
There's no, it didn't cost them anything. See, this is the difference between this and the real world, right? If I wanted to give out 2 shares of Apple, right, that would cost me that's $350 of, And there's something behind it, right? I own $350 worth of Apple, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're $3 trillion, so I own like,
Yeah.
a fraction of a percent. But I mean, at least there's something there. Or gold, right? I mean, it doesn't. What does it cost them to just create?
Well, no. So Solana is a crypto, but I'm just saying, like, the projects, it's just all built around hype. That's what it is.
Right.
So, like, if you're giving away like a profile picture, that would be different than giving away crypto. But it's like, where are these guys coming up with all this money? For one, is it like a laundering scheme where they're trying to like launder money? You know what I mean? Or is it two, like, are they trying to like bait people in by giving them small amounts, $200, $300, $400, and then they make a purchase of like $1,000, and then eventually they just be like, all right.
They
see you later.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? They called it what do they call it? A rug pull or something like that.
Pump and dump.
Yeah, exactly. Stuff like that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I'll continue to monitor it and talk about it, and maybe at some point after a year of all of this, we'll kind of figure it out. But you can't overlook it. I mean, it's here to stay. But I mean, it just, I don't know. I still have a struggle with the whole damn thing.
We need to make some tangible Exclusive Minds hoodies. I saw this guy. He had a good idea with them. He had like the QR codes on them, and then you would scan it, and you would be like, that would be like your ticket to get like one token or whatever, one NFT. So we could probably finesse something like that for our brand to make like 20 hoodies and then 20 Exclusive Minds NFTs or something like that. I don't know how that would work. We would have to do some research on that.
It does create some rather unique and interesting marketing opportunities. I guess. For sure. I mean, it just the dollars behind it just are mind-boggling, and yeah, some of them I just don't get. Like if it was like, if you're buying an avatar for maybe $100, I could get it. Okay, that makes sense. But when it's like $250,000, I'm like, what am I missing here?
Yeah, it's just people that are collecting art that say they're art collectors. I feel like that might be, but not everyone. They're doing it for some lucrative reason, maybe to try to make a quick flip or. Yeah,
but I mean, at least with art, see, this is where I have a hard time translating the real world to the digital world, and it's like. At least like if you buy the Mona Lisa, right, you can validate that it is the real legit, Mona Lisa that was painted by Leonardo da Vinci, right? This yacht club thing where they create a digital avatar, it's so easy to replicate that down to the thing. And I guess the NFT is what tells you own it, but.
Yeah, it's like it's built into the blockchain. Like I forget, like the coding behind it is so that people know it's real. There's like a long string of numbers that indicate that one specific picture is yours.
Yeah, no,
so
I get it.
It's like kind of confusing like that, and I'm not.
It's your certificate of authenticity,
and I'm not like knowledgeable or have the most knowledge with that to even explain it to you. But it's something along those lines, and someone's probably like ripping their hair out, like, oh, it's this is what makes it like 1-to-1. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's crazy, and I was actually having a conversation. And then all of a sudden, we got a potential future guest. Maybe I think we have it locked in that we could connect. So it's an interesting way that the new 2021, 2022 marketing is going down through these NFT projects. So
yeah.
we'll see what happens. Pretty credible name if we could get everything. We don't want to jinx it, but so far it looks like we have it locked in for the 27th. So be expecting an episode around then.
Yeah, that could be interesting. I mean, we'll obviously reveal that when it happens Monday. It's, yeah, I mean, that's clearly a case of using NFTs to do marketing and stuff like that for a nonprofit. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, and like I said, it's crazy because there's like 60 people.
I think it's a nonprofit, right? I'm assuming, but
yeah, I think so. Yeah, for sure.
We'll figure it out, but yeah, more on that. But I guess that's kind of the crypto update.
Yeah, sorry, we always go off on the deep end with that one, I feel like.
No, I mean, it's just, it's such an interesting topic. It really is. I mean, I know I kind of go,
yeah,
but the reality is I'm wrapped around the axle just trying to kind of figure it out. And it's just, it's interesting to kind of watch and see. I don't know if I could really sink serious money into it because I just, of course, you say the same thing back in the .com.
That's
bubble,
what I was just
right?
about to ask you. I was like, back then, like, what was that like?
Oh, Amazon. Holy Christ, who's buying Amazon at $300 a share when it's, selling books? Like I get at Barnes & Noble. So I get it, right? I get it. There's history here that, the world changes, and this is probably going to change the world. I'm just having, I'm slowly kind of getting up to speed with it.
Yeah, we should probably do like a segment on that. like, I don't know, like, what was your experience when that .com era was coming around for like the first time? Like
Well, I mean, it was crazy. So I worked at Apple in '99, and I went to a company called Micromuse in 2000. And Micromuse was a software company, so they were right into the middle of the whole .com thing. They were sort of a management platform.
Okay.
And it was really weird. So they hired me and gave me stock options. And I forget what it was. It was like 5,000 stock options. And I kid you not, in the first month of my tenure there, those stock options like went from nothing to like $250,000, and I couldn't cash out because there was a vesting schedule. So I think it was a 3-year vesting schedule. So I couldn't do anything for 3 years. You basically were given those, and that was your incentive to stay with the company, right? That was kind of your carrot that they dangled in front of you. And yeah, I had just bought a house, and I literally within the span of 3 weeks if I could have sold the stock, I could have paid off my house that I just bought. My God. And that's how insane it was. I kid you not, right? And by the time the 3 years came and I could vest, they were worthless.
Again?
Worthless.
Oh my
Underwater,
God.
Right? So that tells you kind of the swings. I mean, it was like I forget the numbers, whatever it was like.
Right.
I had options at like whatever it was, $50, and they went to like $250 in a month, and
you had like 5,
by the time by the time it was done, they were like $10 a share or something like that. IBM eventually bought them out, and I think they paid like $5 a share or something like that. So those stock options were worthless. So it was all paper money. It was all funny money, right? It was kind of like this.
You just kind of like had a monitor.
You just sat there and you watched it, and like, oh my God, I'm going to be a millionaire in like 2 months, and it was basically it was all timing because I worked with some guys who were there before me, right? And so their vesting hit right at the peak, and a couple of them I know basically cashed out right at the peak, and it was like all timing, right? Yeah. And those that could cash out, and I sit there and I go, this is very much like crypto, right?
Yeah, I mean,
and timing is, you can sit there and say there's skill in it, but I mean, timing is very much luck as well.
Like reading the chart and kind of like understanding it and stuff. That's very interesting. Now, how old were you when you like made your first email? Let's say, what was the timeline?
First email?
Yeah, like what was like the timeline on that? I'm just trying to understand it.
So I mean, oh God, I mean, I guess there was electronic communication going all the way back. I mean, my very first digital communication was actually an acoustic coupler modem, right?
What the? What is
so
that?
That's where I don't know if I don't even know if you've ever seen a rotary dial telephone.
Rosie had one.
Right. So, they weren't rotary, but at that time they were the push buttons. But you actually had to take the phone receiver and stick it on this like suction cup thing, and then it sent these electronic or analog audio signals that they converted into digital, and it was like 300. I'm trying to think. It was called 300 baud or 1200 baud, which was like 300 characters per second, which is like infinitesimal compared to today's numbers. Right?
Oh my God!
It's literally like 3,000 compared to what? Like you get like gig to the house, which is whatever that
like
is,
1,000, yeah, whatever.
A billion bits per second or something like that. So that was the first. But I mean, I think the first kind of legitimate email system would have been AOL.
Okay. Yeah.
America Online.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. It's just wild how over time there's always different forms of communication. Sorry for getting away from the mic.
Yeah,
like
clearly.
Yeah, like think about it before. Like, you would have to like, how do I articulate this? Like before, there's always that cliche message of like putting a note into a bird's mouth and then sending it off.
Yeah. Carrier pigeon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then nowadays, like you could go on your phone, make a call to like how like Nonna does it, like to Italy, which is like hundreds of thousands. And I promise you, we're not on drugs. We're just having a genuine conversation about it. But yeah, just wild. Like when I was, I think.
The world's become a much smaller place because of digital technology.
And like that's like a thing where. Nowadays, like, are we supposed to be able to get that much information at our fingertips? Like, are we supposed to know when Joe didn't have his cup of coffee today, or someone in Australia missed the bus? Like, we just have so much information dialed in. Does that have like some sort of like long-term effect on like the way that we are programmed? Like, does that make us more depressed over time, or does that have like some sort of like psychological, I don't know, like.
Well, now again, we're going into the deep into it because, I mean, clearly social media is creating issues, but
yeah, like with those like dopamines and stuff like that. But now my first form of communication was, I don't know if you ever heard of the app Kik.
No.
Kik. It's like some text messaging platform, but you didn't need a carrier. You just had to get like Wi-Fi connection.
Yeah.
So like once you had the Wi-Fi connection, you just like had like all this text message. And I thought it was like cool. I had like an iPod. I was like going through like texting all my friends like, oh, like whatever. And then just nowadays, all you need is your phone, and that's all it is.
Yeah. No, I mean the phones are amazing devices. So
yeah. We should we need to make a clickbait title for this. We need to have some sort of catch factor. I don't know. I think we got to start some controversy here.
You didn't get $1 billion in your
unfortunately,
Coinbase account.
I tried to pull out like you did with the stock options, and they said that there was like a three.
So we can't use the billionaire instant billionaire thing again.
I don't know. We have to think of something.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll come up with something. So I know we were talking about Sean Combs buying back Sean Paul, and you didn't know.
Oh yeah,
which I thought was kind of interesting, right? You're sort of the urban wear guy, and you don't know who Sean Paul is, which is interesting to me.
Sean Paul, like P Diddy, right?
Yeah.
I know him as P Diddy, not like Sean Paul. Like when you said that,
I'm trying. Let me get this right, because Sean Combs, right? Is that the guy?
Yeah, Combs. Yeah.
Yeah. So Sean John, right? That was his brand. Yeah, right here. I'm trying to remember the history, but
like I've always known him as P Diddy from like the music and like getting behind that type of stuff.
He created the first, one of the first, if not the first, kind of urban lifestyle or fashion lifestyle, and it was huge. I want to say I'm thinking late 90s, maybe early 2000s, and then he sold it for a couple $100 million to a conglomerate, and the conglomerate proceeded over the next 10 years or whatever, or 15 years to run it into the ground and went bankrupt, and he just bought it back for like $7 million, the brand for $7 million, right? So that's kind of interesting. Yeah,
no, that is interesting. And like I said, like he was always known for like his music stuff. I didn't really hear about that. Like I don't know. Do you have his net worth pulled up? I could try to guess. We could do the reverse net worth game here.
Yeah, actually I do. So
pick a number.
$600 million. Over or under?
You said how much did he sell it for?
I don't know actually.
You don't know? Okay.
Exactly.
I'm gonna say over. He has to be close to $1 billion, I would imagine.
Probably $850 million.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah.
See,
has he done anything like, or is he just completely behind the scenes now and just sort of running?
Yeah, behind the scenes. I don't think he's doing anything besides that. But
like
I know
all these guys don't do music anymore, right? Who's the one that's married to Beyonce?
Jay-Z.
Does he do any music?
Not since the 444 project. That was 2018, maybe 16.
Oh,
I don't know.
Kind of
relatively recent. But now these guys are just behind the scenes. He actually sold his company title for you could look this up. I think it was like $350 million for half of it, I think. So
yeah, here's the deal. So he in 1998 is when they launched the brand. He bought it back for $7.5 million. I'm trying to see what he sold it for. I don't want to babble as we're kind of on a podcast. I probably should have had this information at hand.
No, you're good.
Anyway, I'm sure it was several $100 million. But anyway, he yeah.
Do you mind pausing it real quick?
Pause it? I don't know.
If you know how to do that.
I think it's starting all over, so I'll probably have to stitch them together.
Okay. There's probably just going to be two files then.
Yeah, we're about, 40 minutes in, so
okay.
I'll cut this part out for sure, but
all right. Sorry about that. I had to take an important phone call, but we're back. You were looking at the.
See, we can't get away from phones. It's just not possible, right? Even when you're doing a podcast.
She kept calling over and over again, and she doesn't usually do that. So, and it was something thought relatively important, but we're back.
Yep. So I can't find it, but anyway, I thought it was kind of interesting, and it was interesting you didn't know who he was or about the clothing brand. So.
No, yeah, I didn't know that. And do you ever wear Coogee tops?
No.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I didn't. We were having a conversation about this, and I wasn't really like too familiar with it. But then I looked at it and I was like, it's pretty cool. But I don't know. I just never really knew anyone that was really wearing it. Like I thought, did Biggie wear them, or someone made them popular like that?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. That was an East Coast.
Yeah,
that was kind of an East Coast brand. I want to say like Run DMC had something to do with that, or maybe, but I don't remember.
We should bring that style back, man. I feel like fashion always has these rotational trends. We're just gonna have to bring
what
back.
Was the other one that was kind of big for like a moment? The one that had like the leopard print sweatpants that you wore to the gym. Zoom something.
Zoomies?
Is that what it is? Nah, it was. I don't remember, but there were a lot of there was at that point in time, like in the late '90s, there were a bunch of fashion brands that were popping up that some kind of came and went, and others survived. So
yeah. I know like the bomber jackets. Like a couple years back, they made like a big comeback. Like just funny to see how everything has these
goes
rotational
full circle.
Yeah,
that's the way life goes.
Yeah, it has these rotational swings.
Hey, so one of the other things I wanted to ask you about is. So yeah, my wife was reminding us as we were walking upstairs about how I thought it was kind of funny, and I just took note of it that like you text me at like 11:30 at night, and I text you at like 7:30 in the morning. It's like this ongoing thing. Like you'll text me and I'm asleep, and I text you and you're asleep
because you always have that do not disturb thing that's always on, and it's like it pops up above the text message.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, it pops up. So like you could I could click it.
I don't think I turned that on. That's probably just automatic.
Yeah, I could click it and then it says notify anyway, but I never click it unless it's like something like truly important. So I just like let it rock out. But yeah, I have a kind of actually for my friend group, I have a pretty good sleep schedule. I would consider, and then we could kind of go off on this little topic for a second. I'm going to bed nowadays at like maybe 2 a.m. waking up at 8:05 every morning.
Ouch. So that's 6 hours.
Well, I like to keep like consistency even through the weekend. I know this sounds like such a D-bag thing to say, but like if I find myself where if I have like a set pattern, it just makes me feel less tired than like if I'm like, all right, 5 days a week I'm gonna wake up at this time, and then 2 days I'm gonna take it off. So I just kind of just do it anyway, and it's been working out pretty good. Today I woke up a little bit later because it's like Christmas Eve, didn't have anything to do besides this. So
yeah.
What about you? What's your sleep schedule like? Because I do notice at like 11:30, you're.
I don't know. I'm usually in bed by 10:30. It depends. I'm kind of all over the place, but I'd say 10:30 on the average, and I'm usually up at 6:30. So
okay.
I'm getting maybe an extra hour or two on you, but
yeah.
I'm old, so.
What's it called? My friends that game, they're up until like 7 a.m.
Look, I used to do that all the time.
Dude,
right? I mean, back in the early Warcraft days, I'd be doing marathons into the wee hours of the morning, and then sleeping, and then getting up and just doing the exact same thing. So I get it. Believe me, we've all been there. It's kind of funny, right? We talk about the generational differences, and I noticed it. I was like, look at this, man! Like, oh my God, I'm the early riser and going to bed early now.
Yeah,
jeez,
it's crazy. I don't know. I feel like to have that much consistency with like these late night grinds, like shout out to Justin. He's the one that does it. He'll play till 7 a.m. probably 4 days a week. No, not joking. Yeah, and I don't know how he does it. He's just very like consistent. Like that's his sole thing. But yeah, I mean, I guess we all been there. I forgot you're like the Warcraft guy, man. So
yeah. No, I mean, I used to do some grinds, and I would be doing wee hours in the morning and stuff like that. So
that's awesome. But
I thought that was kind of funny. Oh, the other thing is, what's the general vibe, you and I guess your peers, on everything from a software perspective being subscription based versus just pay for the damn thing? And I only ask because just the other day,
oh my God, this is actually funny that you bring this up. But continue. Sorry.
No, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I just snapped, but just another subscription kind of came up, and I'm like, son of a bitch, man. There's so many of these freaking things, and like, if you actually like spend some time to add it up, because you don't realize it, right? No. It's $5 here, it's $5 there. It's next thing you know, you're like, holy Christ, I'm spending like $200 a month on bullshit.
You want to hear a nightmare? So listen, right? This is so funny that you bring this up. I'm not even kidding. it was December 20th, because I was supposed to get a confirmation. This is the only reason I know. On December 20th, I'm like, we go to the mall. I'm like, Taylor, we're going to the store. Do you still have your subscription? She's like, yeah, they wouldn't let me close it. I'm like, what do you mean they wouldn't let you close it? Because they'll just keep throwing discounts like, oh, stay with us. We'll give you 15%. A year ago, she never closed it to Fabletics. She had 11 credits for in-store. Each credit for each of the months was worth $50 per month. So $50 times basically 12, because she was going on to her 12th credit. I think it was $600. So she spent $600 on a monthly, on a year subscription to somewhere where she couldn't close the thing out. So we ordered a bunch of clothes. Like she ordered me two, like a pair of shorts and a hoodie, and then she got like this other like 10 items of like leggings and all this other stuff. But she spent $600 on crazy amounts of stuff that she didn't even buy until like now.
Oh, so she was paying $15 a month.
50.
Oh, $50.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so that's like, so we talk about coffee, right? And I have the Nespresso, and I don't know about,
you like
I guess
those?
about 18 months ago, they had a promotion where, if you signed up for a subscription, which was $35 a month,
jeez, that's a lot.
They would give you, the a machine for free, or for a penny, and the machines are like, $150, $200.
What was the time limit for the 35?
So you had to be a member for a year. So you basically, you could look at it one way or the other, right? But so, I mean, there's two of us, and we're having coffee twice a day, right? So $35 is basically 35 pods, right? So we were going through that anyway, I mean, without thinking. And so I signed up for it, and this was like 18 months ago. So, and after your commit, like very much like they don't automatically cancel it. It just keeps going. So I'm paying $35 a month. And again, I wasn't really paying too much attention because we do use it. But the next thing I know, I look and there's got to be 20 boxes of coffee downstairs, or sleeves of coffee.
Oh my god!
And I'm like, okay, now we're starting to get to the point where it's like, what am I doing here, right? And that was one of them. And that's not even software, right? And I'm looking at like my computer, and I get billed like, here's $14 for your annual subscription, and of course I'm like, okay, $15, who cares, right?
But that's the problem, though.
Well, and I think it was just because I got hit with like 3 or 4 of them in like a stretch, because we're getting to the end of the year or whatever it is, and I'm like, what the hell? Man?
I'm getting those with Photoshop right now, because like I buy photo, like you need to have a subscription for the Adobe programs. But it's like Photoshop, then you have Netflix, then you have Hulu, then you have your phone bill, then you have X, Y, and Z, and it's just like, like perfectly what you said. Oh, it's only $15, but now you look at this stretch of all these different applications you have into one lump sum. It's like, oh God, this is a couple $100 I have here. Crazy. That's like on a monthly basis. It's
and
like,
I literally just signed up for. I usually sign up for Netflix about middle of December. And I'll have it for a month, and I'll binge watch freaking everything under the sun.
Okay.
And then I'm going to cancel it. So I basically put my 1 month in, paying their $17 or whatever it is, and I watch like the Witcher, and I'll watch Cobra Kai and a couple other shows, and then I'll cancel it.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah,
but, I mean, that's another subscription, like Peloton, the bike. That's a subscription
for like workouts.
Yep.
Oh my God! Could you do your own workouts, or like is it just better to do it with
so
theirs?
No, I mean the Peloton bikes, it's a connected bike, right? So in order to, you need a subscription to really get anything out of the bike.
Oh my God!
So you are locked in. I mean, I guess you could. No, you probably could ride the bike without it, but what the hell? It doesn't make any sense. So I'm paying a subscription for that. Software. Yeah, it was just everything.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Apple nails me for like, Chris, I'm paying like $30 a month for like the Apple One plan, like music, and I don't really listen to music, but the wife does, and I'm like, oh my God, who's got time for all this crap? That's the other thing. Even if I actually had time, I don't even know if I could consume everything I'm paying for.
Apple got it figured out, and so does Google. They got they charge for the cloud storage. Yeah. And like the cloud storage to them is probably nothing, but they're just making these small transactions for cloud storage. You're like, whatever, I'll buy it because it's like $5, but everyone got an iPhone nowadays, or everyone has a Google account, so they're probably making a killing just off of that alone.
Yeah, I mean, the Apple. I'm a zealot of the Apple ecosystem, right? But the cloud thing from Apple is probably one of the few things that I would actually keep, because I mean, it's really nice when you're upgrading your phone and it automatically downloads because in the days past, right, you had to have an external hard drive. You need to back up your computer, then restore it, and
those days are long behind us.
You push a button, and the next thing you know, all your shit's immediately sent back to it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I think it's like 99 cents for 50 gigs or something like that.
Yeah, I forget. It's
really good.
It's part of the one package, and like Apple TV, like I watch, like, it's the same thing. Like I watch like 2 shows that I could probably turn the subscription on and off when that show comes back, and I never do, right? So I end up paying
a little bit more than you have to.
You pay months where I'm not watching anything on Apple TV.
Do you think it makes sense for a clothing company, kind of what, like, obviously with the exclusive mind, do you think it makes sense for a clothing company to be a subscription based, kind of like how Taylor got locked into that plan? Because I mean, the reality is I think everything is going subscription. Everybody's looking for this recurring revenue. So every industry on the planet is trying to figure out some way to set up a subscription or some sort of recurring model. So clothing, absolutely. I mean, I expect you'll see it. I mean, yeah, they have it down to a science. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but their marketing for it is like perfect. Like if you were to buy just a one of one clothing, like just one thing, let's say that hoodie that I bought, $70. But if you're on their subscription plan and you buy the hoodie, you get the hoodie and then you get 50% off of the original price. And then they always have these discounts going on, which is like 15%. So that $70 hoodie immediately drops down to $35, and then 15% off of that, and then you end up paying like $28 for like a hoodie or whatever.
Yeah, and they're still making money. And
they're still making money.
No, I think we're doing something wrong there, because I mean, we talked about this. I mean, this is kind of more of the behind the scenes stuff. It's like, do you like raise the price and then do the discounts? And we sort of started to kind of go that way, where we were like, selling hoodies, and then we would say, let's have a sale for 20% off. And this time I think we just tried to say, where do we need to be?
Yeah,
right? Yeah. And that's it. No sales. We're not going to, you're not going to see the breast cancer hoodie at 20% off, or these new winter ones at 20% off, because honestly, there's no money in it anymore.
Yeah, it's just them. We kind of listed it for a great price, and like no one complains about the price ever. Like I feel like, it's always justified, and we're not in the business to like rip off people. Like we're not trying to rip people off. We're not trying to do any of that type of stuff. So it's like that it makes sense that it makes sense.
I know it's really going to be hard to believe, but I mean the reality is we would basically love to just break even if we could get more people buying, right? I mean, it's more about
seeing it out.
Yeah, it's more about just getting the brand out there and building as much awareness. So I mean, we're happy to just kind of break even, and this is not a money making venture at this point, but I mean it's
Trust
fun.
Me.
And
exactly, we're in it for the fun, and we're in it for seeing a community grow at the end of the day. Like, that's all it is, And I feel like
it sounds cliche, but it really is true.
Yeah, we're not bad people. We're not just we're not this corporate giant trying to capitalize on people's like last $40. But
let AOC know that we're not the don't eat us. We're not the rich.
Oh,
so.
God, yeah. Well, you're gonna have to cut out. You're gonna have to cut that.
I'm not cutting any of that shit out. That's all good. It's all in there.
All right, I think we should wrap it up on that
so
note.
I think we're probably on about an hour, 56-ish minutes or so.
All right, sweet.
Yeah, so we Merry Christmas again.
Happy holidays.
Christmas.
Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas. And we'll be back Monday-ish, Monday, Tuesday, depending on the editing schedule, to have we're going to have a conversation with a special guest.
Oh yeah, we gotta take notes. That's gonna be good if we could get it pulled off. That'd be good.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. You want to give any hints at all? Like, does it involve tigers or something?
Some animal.
Yeah, tigers. So anyway, we'll be back, and enjoy your holidays, and look forward to circling back.
Yep. See you guys.
Awesome. Later.
Yeah. Let me drop exclusive game from my exclusive mind. You be out here chasing fame, I stay steady on my grind. 0 diamonds, 0 chains, from my brain is where I shine. Hit you with them good lyrics, I ain't writing and I'm dying. And right now I'm alive, so check it. I reckon I shouldn't cuss on this record. I don't cuss on them often because I'm applying pressure. Grab that fire grind. 0 diamonds, 0 chains, from my brain is where I shine. Hit you with them good lyrics, I ain't writing and I'm dying. And right now I'm alive, so check it. I reckon I shouldn't cuss on this record. I don't cuss on them often because I'm applying pressure. Grab that fire from my dresser. EXM, who does it better? No, I won't let up. Gas pedal fully pressed, I do the dash to the checks. If it ain't assets, I'm never stressed. I keep it calm and collect. Most of y'all stuck in some debt, and you got bad credit. I learned my lesson, I was young and foolish, now I'm better. I kept my head up through the stormiest weather. Wipe my eyes and focused on where I'm headed. We call that constant progression. If we in Vegas and the option is betting on me, you know we cashing out to the teller. Now let me switch my endeavor, change up my whole approach. Let's have a toast to those who do the most. Achieving goals on the road to their dreams, on the path to the cream, counting stacks with their team, living lavishly, but still actively aware that they can be a casualty, so they don't lack humility and they don't dabble with the greed. Yes, they focused on the plan ahead. They know impact will lead to bread, and the bread equals success and less threats. Got some things to accomplish. When someone hits my line, it's not about some nonsense. We making moves, always grinding, we popping. You know we not gonna stop, and never no option but time, and the perfect time is right now. Not caught up in tomorrow. I'm all about making a conscious decision while I'm living. Make a choice, then I'm committed to that vision. I pivot if necessary. It's scary when you get caught in a position that isn't hitting you down bad because you're persistent in the wrong direction. Just learn your lesson, you gotta check it. Audit you and keep on getting better. That's the motive, that's the method, and I'm headed further than I ever thought I could make it. I wouldn't stop unless my pulse flat lines like the doctor lost his patience.